Property management in the Mayan Riviera. What is it? What does it entail? How does it work? If you have any questions, this is the video to watch. We're here with our expert, Monyka. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So we're sitting on the rooftop here in Playa del Carmen in a beautiful building. We have the ocean behind us.
Beautiful weather.
This
today.
is why we're here. This is why we do what we
Yes.
do. So if you buy a property in the Mayan Riviera, you've purchased it, you've gotten the keys, you've gone through the closing, you've gone through, well, before the closing, you've searched for the property, you found the property, you closed, you get the key.
What
now
happens
what?
now?
What do you do, right? Most cases, you're not here. You live in New York, you live in Florida, you live in Europe somewhere, you live anywhere in Canada. You're not here. So you need someone like Monyka or any property manager or any vacation rental manager here in Playa del Carmen, in Tulum, in Cancun to run the whole thing.
Run the show. Yeah,
Run the show.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, question. We're going to be
Yes.
asking a lot of questions today.
Okay, and I have all the answers. So.
Well, I hope so. So, first of all, we kind of, most people lump into one category, property management.
Yes.
But actually, it's two separate things: vacation rental
It is.
and property management.
Exactly. So, a lot
explain
of people, when they come to Playa del Carmen, they come to Tulum, they come here, and they're looking to, rent their property out. A lot of the times, they just think it's exactly the same as back home. So wherever I'm from Montreal, so back home, you think of a property manager, you think of somebody who's going to make sure the maintenance is taken care of. There's a leaky pipe, the maintenance is coming. There's a cleaner on. Whenever somebody moves out, they're making sure the place is rented. Here it's
right?
For long term. It's usually for long term. Here it's very different because you are doing short-term rentals. You're doing Airbnbs, VRBO, Booking.com. So it's a lot more short-term rental. So you're actually looking more for a vacation rental manager than you are a property manager. And a vacation rental manager is going to do and encompass all of the things that a property manager does.
Okay, so a property manager would manage the property, make sure it's always well maintained.
Exactly.
Any maintenance issues, those kind of things. But
paying the electrical bills,
paying
all the expenses, the utility bills, collecting the rent at the end of every month or the first of every month.
Right. So that's a property manager.
Exactly.
However, here you're saying that the vacation rental manager is also someone who needs to know how to market your property.
You have to know how to market. You have to. I mean, there's property management softwares where you integrate all of the different OTAs, the different online travel agencies all together. Online travel agencies. So your online travel agencies would be VRBO, Booking.com,
all those platforms.
Hyatt, all of those platforms. You need to have a system that integrates all of those different platforms to be able to make sure you're not double booking, to making sure that all the prices are the same across every platform.
Right. So you actually, it's not just managing the property in the sense that it's always well maintained and the tenant that's there maybe long term or.
I mean, and then it's guest communication.
Guest communication. So because it's vacation rental, which is extremely important, as we know, reviews.
Yes.
So what's reviews? Reviews, well, it's the guest experience. So you really have to have that hotel style approach. So
great communication.
Right, and you need to book. So you need to have marketing. So it's not just property management; it's also vacation rental. So you need to find someone that can do that's very powerful and strong in all aspects, not just maintaining the property, but also getting those bookings and making sure your guests are happy. Okay, so that's a big distinction. So all of you out there, if you're looking for a vacation rental investment opportunity and you do find one, you get a property, you want to make sure that you get not just someone who's going to pay the electrical bill and make sure the property is, the lights are on and so on. You also have to make sure that, especially now with the competition, there's a lot of units available.
There is a lot of units, and there is also a thing to say about these big companies that are here that are well established, that have hundreds of listings under their belt. They're not going to take the time and care that your property may need, and that's actually a big issue that I'm coming across a lot is. Are these owners that are coming to me saying, I'm looking for another property manager. I'm really not happy right now. It's, it's cool to say that I have 100 units under my belt and I manage 100 different properties. But at the end of the day, less is more in this case, because you really want to take care of the properties that you're managing. And
okay, I get it. I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah,
because you might lose.
It's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of work to take care. It's one thing to have a property management company where you're just having long-term rentals and having 100 units. But to do short-term rentals, it's a lot of work. So
Okay, so that's a good point. So keep that in mind when looking for a vacation rental property manager here in Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Cancun, in this whole area. Okay, so in terms of property management, vacation rental, so what exactly, like, what are some of the things that you do? What is it? What do you offer? What
Yeah.
is what comes with all of that? So if I
Yeah.
have a property and I want to come to you and I say, okay, what are you going to offer me? What do you do? So what is the step by
Yeah.
step?
So the step-by-step.
Or I mean, not step by step, but what are the services you provide?
So the services would be one, booking on all the different online travel agencies, making
Okay.
sure that you're well marketed across all platforms, so you have more exposure to get a higher occupancy.
Okay.
The second would be, creating the online guidebooks, the manual guidebooks, taking care of all the cleaning and the maintenance. So making sure that the property is well taken care of. The
all the
listing,
guests.
the listing creation, all of those things, the automated messages that go through, making sure that your listing is optimized across all platforms.
So when you say optimize, like using special tools that
Special
getting the
tools, there's
algorithm.
there's price optimizing tools like Price Labs, where you can optimize the price.
So you're not leaving money on the table. You can
Exactly.
Okay, so
Right. So you can work with those platforms, but also optimizing your listing on Airbnb would be something like making sure that you have the right keywords in the title, making sure that you have the right description
yeah,
where
so
you
SEO stuff like that.
Exactly. Right.
Wow, so there's a lot that goes into it.
There's a lot.
I imagine you'd have to have a good photographer. You need to
Yeah,
get
you have to
because
have really good
you
photography.
can't just do the click, 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 take 10 pictures and put it. You have to have a
No.
professional photographer.
And it's funny because I have a lot of people that say I'm never booked. What's like why? Why am I never booked? And I take 2 seconds to look at their listing and they're just awful, like vertical shots on their camera.
Yeah.
Of course they're not going to get listed. That's the most important thing. It's they say a picture is worth a thousand words.
Right.
The picture is the most important thing. That is your biggest marketing tool when you're doing
Okay,
vacation
so
rentals.
to repeat, so you offer marketing,
Marketing,
optimization of the different platforms,
listing creation,
making sure they look beautiful, great photography, guest interaction, making sure that you get the best reviews and the guests are always happy, that the response time is super quick. No one's waiting 20 minutes when we don't have water right now. Okay, boom, it's quick.
Yeah.
And then also, I would imagine on the back end of that is all of the other property management type of things.
The
like,
cleaning
okay,
and the maintenance, the paying the utility bills,
that touch up when people check out.
paying the Wi-Fi, exactly.
Making sure that the property is always nice. If something breaks, the sofa,
Yeah,
always replacing, upgrading, keeping things tip top, because
exactly.
it's really important that everybody understands that there is a lot of units in the Mayan Riviera that are available for rental.
There's something like 3,000.
No, there's just implied there's like 14,000 available units for rental. Not all in the best locations. So that can really separate you from everybody else. It's super important because the competition is pretty high. So you do all that. Now,
We do all of that. On top of that, there's also taxes that we haven't touched, and that's a big topic as well that people have a lot of questions on. I don't know if you want to get to that later.
well, I think you brought it up, so let's just dive into it now.
Yeah.
So what are some of the questions we get a lot? So I have this property. I want to rent it out. It's generating an income. What do I do? Like, this income, where does it go?
Yeah.
Who's taking the income? Who's paying some taxes? How do I get this income? If I'm the owner, how do I get this income to my
me,
bank account?
Who's
at
paying the
end?
taxes?
Yeah, how does that work? So let's go through the first step. So
There's essentially 3 scenarios.
3 scenarios. Okay, so
That can
now
happen,
scenario
right?
number 1.
So scenario number 1,
I have a property.
you have a property that you have bought in the Mayan Riviera,
Right.
somewhere here, Tulum, Playa. You don't have residency in Mexico. You don't have an RFC, which is a tax ID number.
So I don't have a tax ID.
You have nothing.
I'm just a complete foreigner who came, bought something, and then I say, "Hey, Monyka, manage my place for me."
Exactly. So
What happens?
your first option is, 1, you take on that tax responsibility. All of your banking information would be put onto Airbnb. We're going to use Airbnb as the example because they take a lot.
The easiest one, the most known, I guess.
So Airbnb actually takes 36%
Of the gross revenue?
of the gross revenue straight from your Airbnb account if you don't have an RFC, which is your tax ID number, as a foreign investor.
Okay, so let me repeat that so that it's clear. I have a property. I'm a foreigner. I don't have a tax ID. I don't have any of that.
Nothing.
I get For example, this month there was $3,000 worth of bookings gross.
Yeah.
Before our Airbnb transfers that money to me, they're going to take 36%.
36%.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But then you're also
Why
paying
don't
your
you
property.
take
Then
my
you're
left
also
leg while
paying
you're at it?
your property manager as well. So
Okay, so
It's not-
we'll get into those fees in a second.
yeah.
Okay, so how?
So obviously that's not the best choice.
No, that's
so
not-
then
so-
scenario number two.
Okay, so what's scenario number two?
Scenario number two is you bought your property, you got residency in Mexico, and now you have a personal tax ID, which is called a persona física.
Persona física.
Persona física.
Yeah, good job. Get that. So persona física
Persona
is,
física. Sí.
if you were in Canada, it would be like a sole proprietor. You're not a corporation, you haven't incorporated, you're not an entity,
No.
but you have a tax ID.
You have a personal tax ID
Okay, so if I were to set up my bank information on Airbnb
with your
my
personal tax
ID,
ID.
what is
Airbnb
everything?
will take 9% now
From 36 to 9.
to 9. However,
Okay, so that's better.
it's better. However, now you're gonna have to get an accountant. You're gonna have to pay your taxes. You're gonna have to file them every single month.
Okay.
So there is that fee on top of the 9% that can be somewhat of a headache.
Okay, so I get my 9, so the 9% deducted, kind of like government. If you're
Just
working a
takes
job,
it out.
automatically takes off your paycheck. So they take 9%.
Yeah.
I get this revenue, but then I still are responsible for paying some personal income
Exactly.
tax. So I have to get an accountant. That's a cost every month.
That's
They
a
have to
cost every
file,
month.
and then I still have to pay taxes after that. Okay. So that's 9%. Okay, that's better than 36%.
Better than 36%.
What's the third scenario?
So the third scenario, and the last scenario, well, not the last scenario, but the third scenario for yourself to take on that tax responsibility is opening up a corporation and not having a personal tax ID, but now you have a corporate tax ID.
Okay, so now I'm an entity.
You're an
I have
entity.
a corporation.
Airbnb now takes 0%,
Oh,
which sounds like the best option, right? But now you're paying to incorporate your company, which is a lot. It's a lot higher. The fees are a lot higher than they are in the United
but
States.
it's a
and
one-time fee. So
Canada.
once it's over,
It is
once
a
it's set
one-time.
up,
It is a one-time fee, but it's not like $50 like it is in Canada. I mean, I incorporated my company. It was like $80.
yeah, no, I know it's different. Okay,
So it's a lot different here. But then again, you have to have an accountant and you have to file your taxes every single month. So you're paying, $100 to however many dollars every single month to pay that accountant to file all your taxes, and then at the end of the year to file your taxes again as a whole. So you're
So let me get this straight. I have a corporation.
you have a corporation.
Airbnb says, okay, you have a corporation now. We're going to give you the gross revenue, and now you can run it
As
like
you
a
wish.
corporation
Exactly.
and do whatever it is that you do. But so here's the key. You said that you need to find an accountant. We all know that there is a broad spectrum of what an accountant is. You can get an accountant that simply takes the number, files, and there's no strategic
There's
planning,
no tax
strategy
strategy.
to reduce
Yes.
that income. They're just going to take that $3,000, file it, and now you're going to be hit with whatever the tax is
It
for
is
the
very
corporation.
different in Canada. Canada, you can have the 2-in-1. You can have a tax,
Attorney,
a
corporate tax.
an accountant and an account like the tax strategist.
Strategist, but it costs money. So, in other words, as an accountant, as I'm a strategist, I'm going to take that revenue. You're gonna hand, if you're the property manager, or I'm the property owner, I should hand in all of my expenses, the receipts, everything that I have for the month. They're gonna give it to my accountant, and then they're gonna play the game
Exactly.
to try to bring down that tax to the lowest possible, right? So that I could maybe break even, pay 0, pay 10%, 5%, whatever it is.
Exactly.
But that's going to cost me some money because I need a good accountant. Okay, so
Yes.
first scenario,
First scenario
you pay 36% off the
for the taxes. So like
taxes.
you said,
okay,
the first option, 36%.
gone
Gone.
because you don't have a tax ID, you don't have a corporation, you're not a sole proprietor. Okay, second
Second-
option, you get 9% taken off right off the bat.
With a persona física or a personal tax ID.
Okay, you still need an accountant, you still need to file taxes, and then the third option, get a corporation. Airbnb
Yes.
doesn't take anything off your revenue, but then you're responsible for getting an accountant, strategizing, and bringing that tax down. Okay, so those are the three options. Now there is a fourth option.
There is a fourth option.
We're not going to get into too many details because it's a case by case basis. There
Yes.
are services and solutions to be able to have a fourth option where the property management and vacation rental company that's taking care of my
Yes.
property, if I'm the owner, can provide a service where they can handle all that for you.
Exactly. So it's very case by case. I do offer all of my clients, and if you want to reach out and see if that's an option for you and you want a little bit more information, you can message down below and shoot me a message and I can see if this option could work for you.
So that fourth option sounds pretty good. So your company can take a lot of that headache off
Exactly.
of their shoulders, provide a service where they don't even have to worry about any of that.
They don't have to yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Sounds pretty good. Okay, so besides the taxes that you Airbnb or any of those platforms would take off the
Yes.
bat and all that, I do want to mention as a side note that if you are a US citizen, you will also, it's one of the only two countries in the world where you will also, once you receive the revenue from your property manager or the revenue from Airbnb, you're going to have to talk to your accountant in the US to find out what you will need to pay because the US is a little different from the rest of the world. So that's a side note. Again, we can't give you any advice on that. That's something you're gonna have to talk to your accountant in the US about. Okay. So we have the revenue, Airbnb and all that, those taxes, your fees, property management fees. What can someone expect, like myself, if I'm a property owner?
Yeah.
What am I paying a property manager
So
here in Playa?
the typical average management fee, monthly management fee for property managers here is 20 to 25%. It could fluctuate.
Of what revenue?
Of the nightly gross revenue. So of the
so the
monthly,
rental, all the rental.
all the rental revenue, everything that's being booked on VRBO, Booking.com, Airbnb, all of that money that we would be taking, 20 to 25% depending on your property manager.
So 20, 25%. So that's why it's important to get a really good tax strategy, because if you're paying 36 or 9 or even more, and then on top of that, you have to be 20, 25%. Yeah, I can see how that can really dip into your profits. Okay, so is there another fee that?
There is another fee that some property managers do charge, and that would be the monthly management fee. So the monthly management fee is essentially encompassing all of the work that needs to be done, regardless if you get bookings or not. And that would be things like, we have very hot, humid weather here. The AC, if there's nobody occupying the unit for a week or 2 weeks, there has to be the aircon that's going, running, circulating the air, making sure that there's no humidity in the cupboards.
No, that smell, that musty smell. Someone would have to go in there, change the sheets, open up the windows. All
Exactly.
That. Okay.
So all those types of things, if the cleaners need to go in and do that, we have to pay them as well. So there's all the utilities that still need to be paid every single month. So there are those fees, regardless of the bookings, that still
because your staff has to still go and pay the bills. So that's an interesting point. So if there's a checkout, let's say September 1st, someone checked out, then you don't have another booking until September 28th. You're gonna have to send the cleaners again.
There's still maintenance that needs to be done.
When you're gonna have to send the cleaners again to touch up the place, maybe change the sheets if they smell moldy.
If there's a pool as well, the pool, a lot of the pool maintenance has to be done twice a week.
So the private pool. So if a property has a private pool.
Exactly.
Right. That's important because if you have a property that has a private pool, you're probably gonna want a lot of trees around that private pool. There's a lot of leaves that fall off the private pool, off the trees into the pool. So a couple times a week, I guess you're gonna have to.
Almost 3 times a week. Yeah, we have a listing in Tulum, which is a 4-bedroom villa, and there's a lot of trees. It's this beautiful garden jungle, but constant maintenance has to be kept up.
And that's important. So the pool guy doesn't work for free, so there is those ongoing costs, regardless if there's any rental. And it's important because then those leaves and that debris, you don't want to get that in the pool pumps because then that's bigger cost and more of a repair. So it's important. So
a good property manager will make sure that those things are always taken care of.
Okay, so you have the 20 to 25% of the rental revenue gets taken. And then regardless of rental revenue, there is a flat fee for some property managers.
Some property managers, yeah.
To send out their staff to make sure that your property is being taken care of, regardless if it's booked or not. Okay. And then the money gets deposited into my account. I'm happy.
Yep.
And if I'm a US citizen, then I would have to take that money now and go and file with my account in the US. Okay. Is there anything else that you need to add in terms of the property management, vacation rental services, anything else that maybe let extras, anything else that you do or anything I should know?
I mean, well, a lot of people do have questions about what fees do I take on as an owner. So those fees would be the photos. So the photos, you would be taking that charge on.
Okay, so I'm the owner.
You're the owner.
I want my property to look amazing.
You want to market your property.
You're going to send your photographer.
I have all the photographers, but that is a charge.
But I'm paying for it. Okay, that's fair. Okay.
So that's a charge that you would take on. Maintenance as well.
Okay, so someone ripped a hole in the couch. Wear and tear, so the pillows, sheets.
Exactly.
But
maintenance is very inexpensive here. It's really not. It's not a cost that breaks the bank.
Yeah, so I know what you're saying. So for example, any of you who are watching this from the United States, Canada, we're used to having a plumber come to the property.
It's
It's like
expensive.
$200 just for them to show up.
Here it's
Uh,
200 pesos.
it's a lot cheaper for, yeah, you're right, it's true. I mean,
It's almost two. Well, it depends. It depends on the job, obviously.
right.
But
If
if
they have
you,
to replace a whole wall, then yeah,
yeah,
it's still different,
it's different.
but
But
basic maintenance is much cheaper. So,
yeah,
so I would take on that. But would I have like a little budget with you that you don't have to call me every time you need a little bit of money to fix?
absolutely. Yeah. So we would
So,
have some sort of agreement to say, if the something needs to, the toilet is clogged and the guy needs to come and do maintenance on it. Obviously, those I wouldn't be calling you every single time to tell you about those charges. But let's say there was something over $300 that needed to be done. Obviously, we would have that.
you would have a conversation with me. You say, hey,
have a arrangement,
we have
yeah.
to replace the TV. It fell off the wall. That's a $500 expense. Shh, do I have your permission to go ahead and buy a $500 TV?
And hopefully a good property manager will be able to make these claims and get this money back and have security deposits before the bookings and upon the arrival, filing claims with their cover.
Right.
Yeah.
To cover any damage. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. But I don't need to get a phone call from you and say, hey, because that would be very inefficient, I imagine.
Yeah.
If
Hey,
you
the
have to
light bulb needs to be changed.
can you
I'm
send me
coming.
can you send me 50 pesos? So what would I do?
Yeah,
I would just
yeah.
keep an operating budget with you so that you could dip into it whenever you need to fix something quickly before the next check-in. So what do I get at the end of the month? So I get a statement?
Yep.
How do I know what happens?
You get a full financial statement of all of the cleaning, all of the maintenance breakdown that was done. You also get occupancy rates, as well as
The occupancy
the
percentage,
occupancy
everything.
percentage, what booking channels you were booked on, what was the nightly rate, average nightly rate.
Okay.
So you would get all of that
And then I would see
in a
my net
monthly
profit.
reporting. Exactly.
That's the number I'm interested in.
Exactly.
Okay. And I get that every month.
Every single month.
That's pretty exciting. So
Yeah.
basically, if I were to invest in a property here, I could find a good property manager that also does marketing, short-term vacation rentals, and knows how to handle all the guests and get the best reviews so that I essentially, while I'm back home,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about anything. I get my statement every month and I'm happy. Okay, so I have all these services, things are going well, but I have a good friend of mine. He's my best friend, or he's an acquaint or a good acquaintance, or someone that had just moved to Playa and says, hey, I just started a property management company. Give me your property. Or the other scenario is maybe I'm not happy with the services of my property manager. How do I switch? Is there a legal process I have to go to? Is there a
You're
legal,
bound
am I bound to a specific,
contractually bound.
how do I get out
Well,
of
listen,
that?
the first scenario I would tell you, do you really want to go with your friend that just moved here and wants to be a property manager and doesn't know what they're doing?
Probably not. Good
But
point.
in the second scenario, absolutely. So the way that I work, there are some more established companies that have been here, 20 years that, like I said, have hundreds and hundreds of listings. They have more of a legally bound contract where it's for 1 year, and if anything, you have to give them 3 months or something of that sort. The way that I work is I want to work with you and not, for you or vice versa. I really just want to work with the people that I work with and make sure it's a harmonious relationship for both of us. So if you're ever unhappy with any of the services, or I'm unhappy with you as an owner, and it's hard to get a hold of you, and there's just something that's not clicking, you can leave at any time.
Leave anytime. Do I have to give you any notice?
I mean, 30 days would be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have you ever run? I mean, you just mentioned that if you're not happy with me, why would you not be happy with me as an owner? So what would be the case? So let's just touch on that real quick. So I guess it is kind of frustrating, I would
Yeah.
imagine, if I'm an owner and I don't want to spend any money on the property.
That's
I
exactly
don't
it.
want to fix anything. I can never be reached. Things like that. So I guess it would make your job very difficult. And then your
It is very hard.
superhost status is in jeopardy if I don't cooperate. So
Exactly.
you could fire me as well.
Exactly.
So in
if
other words,
if you're not doing the proper maintenance on your property and guests are complaining, and I'm saying, hey, listen, these things need to get done. We need to change this. The bedding is super uncomfortable. We're getting 1-star reviews for comfortability because it's not. We need to get that changed, and you don't want to put the money into it. I don't know if I want to take care of your property because I want to take care. I want the guests. I want to treat the guests as they're coming into my home. I treat your home as my home, and the guests like it's theirs. So if you don't want to put in that effort, it doesn't really make me
Your
feel
job
like
easy, of course.
yeah, it's hard. It's harder, right?
Okay, so in other words, you don't make money unless you do a really good job. So it's really a partnership, not
It is.
sign this contract if
Right.
you're not happy with
I'm
me.
only making money if you're making money. So I want you to make money because I want to make money.
Well, that's fair. Well, that's awesome. Well, I love that attitude. That's a good attitude. So if anybody has any questions regarding property management, short-term vacation rentals,
Yeah.
you're looking for properties to purchase, to perhaps give to Monyka to manage and do vacation
If
rentals.
you want some realistic, ROI numbers, if you want to look at occupancy, I mean, you can do the research yourself, go on AirDNA, get that subscription, go look at what the occupancies are like and what the average nightly rate is, or even the best way to do it also is just go on to your Airbnb or VRBO, look at what is actually, renting.
Right.
What's the rentals every night.
But at the end of the day, nothing beats having someone that has the knowledge in
experience.
town, that knows what's going on, is on the street, is hearing all the little secrets.
That's it. There's a lot of things that I could tell you that you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly. So. Okay, so if you have any questions for property management, if you have any questions about real estate, finding the right property, what neighborhoods, what the ROIs are, what you can realistically make on certain properties, send us an email. The email is below. If you like the content, if you liked what you saw, please hit the like button. Please subscribe because we're going to continue making content so that you can get the best information from this channel. Monyka, thank you so much.
Thank you.
By the way, if you also just want to come down here and look at real estate because you're serious, you want to take a look at properties, you want to come down here and take a look at this beautiful view, join us. Monyka and I would be happy to take you on a tour. We'd happy to take you, curate a list of properties that we think would work for you. It's what we do. We have a lot of fun doing it. And there's nothing like being near the coast in the Caribbean. So let us know.
It's a little hot, but we don't.
It's a little hot. Are you I'm a little bit sweaty right now, but
sweating.
it's later in the afternoon, so it's not as hot. So again, send us an email. We're looking forward to talking to you. Monyka, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.